Welcome, everybody, to a very special and now urgent round four showdown edition of GUP Showstoppers. As most of you have heard, they've moved up tee times dramatically, and but I know going off the back nine has happened before with Jack. But they're also going off at 7:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. So with all that, we're going to have to grind out some showdown stuff tonight and get it in early. For me, that means getting up at 6 a.m. I don't imagine any withdrawals, but I always like to kind of check and see if there's overlay and stuff like that. So long night ahead of me. I've decided to max out the $155 just because typical for me at least, some of the smaller field type events I seem to have a little success on building. And this is narrowed down to, as we'll get into in depth here, I probably can cut it off at about 40 guys I think could be in the pool and actually have a contention that be valuable. So I'll bid 150 lineups and give it a shot for 100K up top. I think it's great. Not only that, but there's tons of great contests out there. With me tonight is another partner of mine, Toe Tagging Tambo on Twitter. Many of you know him very well. Tambo, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm excited. We got a big Sunday ahead. You said you're getting up at 6. You're working on Molinari's time. You heard Tiger's getting up at 3:45 a.m., man. He don't play around.
I'm lacking. I wasn't planning on getting to sleep in tomorrow for the first time all week, and now it's gone.
Gup's coming off working every show in the industry, and now he's got to get up early on Sunday too, eh?
I can get up early for that though. That'll be worth it.
Yeah.
No, but I'll try. So tonight we're going to go maybe a hair longer than the last two, just because there's a lot to cover. We're going to give out 5 or 6 winners that either liked us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that jazz. Tweeted out this morning. We had a great response there. I've decided before the show it's going to wind up being $250 in DraftKings money to 4 different winners. And all 4 winners are also going to get a Masters t-shirt. Then one winner is going to get the 2-year membership either upgrade or if they're not a member today. And then one winner is going to get a bonus entry. And I believe he's the guy that got drawn as a member. I went to try to look it up for the show. I couldn't confirm, but he's going to get a bonus entry into the Blue Jack National drawing and a Masters tee as well. So stay tuned for that later in the show. We're going to talk about outrights, live betting, what you have out there, being overexposed, drunken tiger bets, whatever you want. We'll go into all of that to tell you what to do, what not to do. I'll take my bankroll management stance, but then I'll say, hey, it's Sunday at Augusta. If you have a little fun money, that's different, right? I have some fun bets out there that obviously I'm not going to post because I don't want people being irresponsible, but we'll go deep into that. And then what most people are here for, we'll go deep dive into the majority of the field, the pricing, very, very tight pricing when you look at pricing compared to finishing position. This is, as we mentioned last night, the one showdown slate that finishing position matters. It's about half. I think it's exactly half of what the normal main slate is, so it's not as strong, but it does matter. And in a tight field like this that the leaderboard can flip on a dime, it's definitely going to matter. This isn't your, Sony Open or, Samsung Farms or something that you pretty much can kind of figure out the top 15. Literally a guy in 40th could finish 10th and a guy in 10th could finish 55th tomorrow. I mean, there's, and especially with the tee times and everybody going off in the, hour and 50 minutes between first and last group off. So very tight window, no weather advantage really, but we are going to talk about that a little bit. I got some notes. To start us off, the weather notes I have just in general, not according to any, tee times or anything like that, is it's going to be warm in the morning. So the guys starting earlier, there's not a cold start. And typically you could have that this time of the year. It's going to be low 70s, even at 7:30. So the guys won't have to worry about it being, 59 or 49 degrees and kind of warming up. Going to be warm. I have light winds, talking to my buddy, till about 10 o'clock. They're going to be stronger to today. And today was just absolutely picture perfect. And we'll get into that in a second. But similar to Thursday and Friday, kind of mid-afternoon, About 10 a.m. Eastern time is when you start to see right now, and this can change anytime. I literally will wake up at, the 5:30, 6 o'clock mark on a few things to see if anything major's changed. Not at that time. You can make a lot of dramatic changes, but I won't lock in my stuff till night, till almost midnight, because I want to see that last wind stuff at the end of the day. So from 10 on, winds start picking up 10 plus mile an hour, 15 gusts, 20 gusts type ish winds from 10 till they finish. Obviously right now the storms are projected to come in around 2 at the earliest Eastern time, probably closer to 3, but that's why this has all happened. They have probably some of the best, meteorologists in the country working for not only Augusta, but the PGA. And they probably said, I'm sure some head honcho said, here, give me the best scenario that everybody finishes. And they said, the only way that we can guarantee everybody finishes is split tee times and going off at the earliest tee time. And that's what they did. There's obviously been a backlash among not only Twitter world, even internally, some of my closest guys. And I just 1000% disagree with them. I don't give a shit that it's the Masters, that it's tradition, I just don't care. I would rather have everybody finish tomorrow, a 80% chance of that, than traditional times. And we know almost for a fact we're going to go to a Monday finish. I think a Monday finish is way worse than a cramming it in a, being done by 2 Sunday. That's my opinion. I'll ask Tambo his in a minute. But at the end of the day, for the stuff I care about, DraftKings, betting, I don't really give a shit when they tee off. I'll be up at 7 o'clock watching it regardless. I don't care about this back 9 Sunday finish drama. I get it, right? The best guys that are in the best position right now are going to finish on the back 9. So it's not like they're not putting Tiger off on number 10 tomorrow. I don't know if people don't realize that, but that's not how that works. So yeah, someone can make a charge and the charging guy might finish on 9, kind of like Jack did back in the day. So what? I'd rather know that tournament's going to get done tomorrow than it roll into Monday. Tambo, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my biggest thing, and I talked about it earlier in the week, the tradition is ending on Sunday. So that's the tradition. I don't care about the tradition of how it goes off or what happens. Families getting together, our motto, family, friends, green screens. Families getting together on Sundays is a thing for the Masters. Yeah, we're waking up earlier for it, but I'm excited about it. It is what it is. Also, I'd rather be rich on Sunday night than Monday morning or Monday afternoon. So I'm happier if it can end tomorrow and it can go in my favor. But in all seriousness, I think ending tomorrow is the right thing to do. People want to be off. It's better for them too, right? So I like it.
No, I agree. And if you told me even if they went off normal, there was still a chance for it to get done, or you told me there's a chance we won't get anything in tomorrow, I'd be like, all right, well, make the decision Sunday or Monday. It is what it is. If the rain was coming at 6 a.m. and they were dicey with it, I get it. Or if it was coming in at 10 a.m. and they're like, fuck, we're going to go split tees and off, and we're only going to get, 10 holes in, I would just say, shit, just wait till Monday then. Because to me, there's no difference in sending off the first 30, 40 guys at normal times. The leaders start getting 2 or 3 holes in and then stopping, and then virtually probably – and this isn't if it's what came through Texas today, the same system, this isn't no 20-minute shower sprinkle shit. The people died today. I had a tornado less than 5 miles west of me today. I mean, it was a big, powerful storm that went through my area into Louisiana. Several deaths already. This isn't a little fun shower for people that aren't used to tornadoes. This is a major system that the whole National Weather Service is involved in, and I promise you, Augusta's talked to them. So with that, when this thing hits, I think they know it's virtually done for the day. There's a small chance they get out later, but it's going to be such a big delay that they're going to have to warm back up and all that stuff. And I think that's why they made the decision. And to me, it is what it is. We get on, we worry about what we can control. And I think the golfers are the same way. Most of them, from what I heard, are like, I'd rather do that than sit around all morning. So I don't think it's a big deal. We're not going to spend much more time on it. So getting into the week, let's start out with bets. I went 3-3 today. I hit a 2-star, lost 2-star, literally finished down 0.3 stars, which puts me slightly down on the week still. A brutal 4.5-star swing with DJ Bogey in 18 as he pushed it into the woods. If he makes that putt, he finishes on the 69. I hit the other 2-star. We're all sudden up, almost 5 stars total. But that's golf. That's how it happens. Outrights, I currently have some decent ones. I have DeChambeau and Lefty. I don't think those are alive. I have Fleetwood. I don't think that's alive. Matsu, I don't think that's alive. The 2 I have alive, I bet Finau twice. I bet him pre-tournament, and I bet him Tuesday night. Obviously, he's alive. And then I have Cantley. Can he do it again? I doubt it. I mean, we'll talk about that, especially in DraftKings. But I bet him a long time ago. And then the last one I have, and I don't know where he finished at today, Simpson. I know he made a big charge. I bet him in December. He was actually my first bet of the 2019 major golf season. I bet him December 20th or something. So I kind of have a few alive. I have some fun bets out there that I bet personally that some of those guys are in the top 5, and they were lower odds. But for you, I don't know what you have alive or going. I knew you had Brooks at one point or anything, but what if you have nothing out there right now, what would your strategy be? But if you do have some solid guys, do you try to bet tonight? Do you try to hedge tonight? Do you, because it's so tight, down in the middle, you wait to see who's making a movement and see if you can jump on, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I got some guys, so I can talk from that perspective because I think some guys are sitting in this position out there right now. So I don't have Finau and I don't have Molinari, so that's my problem right now. So I got Koepka, I got Cantlay, I got Xander. Again, these guys, Xander, Cantlays, we'll talk about it as we get into it. The other one though that I got is with you, and I talked with today, is one of my first bets I made was on Webb Simpson. I got him at a really good number, 150-1. Way back. It was in June that I got it. So that's with an each way. So I feel good about that one, but we're going to get into probably matchup betting here in a second and the biggest, matchup. But if at the end of the day, where I'm at right now, I might have to hedge on the matchup and just hope that Finau doesn't ruin my day, because Finau hasn't won one yet, but can he? Yeah, he looked great today. And this could be the one where he peels it off. He's been there in majors. We saw it last year. There's no saying he can't do it. That'll be the only thing the reason he can't do it is because he hasn't yet, but everyone has to win for a first time sometime. Yeah, it would be crazy from a Puerto Rico Open to the Masters, but things like that happen. Molinari himself, the guy that's leading the tournament and looks untouchable, didn't come out of nowhere, but he came from always finishing T10 and being the guy that just shows up versus the guy that now is an assassin out there. So I don't know. I think that's a good segue, Gup. As far as it goes for adding guys, I'm looking at the card, and I'm wondering with Molinari, I can't bet him outright at, I have to look at it. And actually, sorry, I shouldn't say that. I have to look at, do I bet him outright at 2.75-1 in my terms, or do I bet him against Tiger 2-1 and maybe I can double down? I'm not sure what to do. By the way, I don't have Tiger either. I didn't go there. So that's another problem for me.
Yeah, I mean, speaking to the masses, it's definitely it depends on your personal situation and your risk tolerance, right? Golf is golf. Let's look at the leaderboard last night. And if I'd have told you, we tried and we did damn good. Bucks almost hit Tiger on. I believe I said, JB can probably quote me, that someone would go pretty damn low today, and I threw out 64, 65, I believe, on the pod. So what happened wasn't that it wasn't unexpected. What I said last night was you got to pick the right damn person, and that's better said than done because there's so many great golfers in there, and you knew it was going to happen. You just didn't know which one. I literally had a 3-3 decision on my main lineup today, and went the wrong way. But all 6 of them that I liked per se were in the mix of those guys I thought they could go really low today and make a charge. Finau, Fowler. That grouping, Fleetwood, Cantley was in there. He was in my final pool, right till the very end. And so am I going to lay a hedge on Molinari? No way. And when we get to the pod, you understand my thinking there. Am I going to lay a hedge? If I have DJ or Finau pretty large, am I going to lay a hedge on Tiger? I just don't think I can. I would personally, at my position right now, the only person I would bet outright, and he'll probably be my freebie by the end of the night, would be DJ, and he's 22-1. So if I had no DJ at all, he's the first guy, and I'd go down from there that I may bet outright and just hope they make a run. I'm not going to hedge anybody because this tournament isn't a hedging tournament. Anybody inside that top 5 or 10 right now or within 4 or 5 strokes can win this thing. So it's just not – it's not plus EV to me because you can't nail the hedge, right? Unless you have Molinari, Brooks, you have 4 of the 5, and the only other guy you don't have, then yeah, obviously you would, but I can't guarantee any of these guys win tomorrow, so I just wouldn't do it. I would look elsewhere. Obviously, you know, I got a little goosebumps when they announced the 3 balls because 3 balls is much more my forte than the head-to-head, just because of the, you know, it's just naturally better plus EV for me, and historically I do way better with 3 balls, so I'm eager to see them. Last night took forever for the matchups to come out, so I hope that's not the case tonight. Do you have any? If you don't have any DJ, right?
I do not. No.
Does it intrigue you at 22-1 at all?
It does a little bit, only because he's so close. And man, I feel like this guy hasn't played anything near his best. Like he's right there. We didn't even barely get to see him today. And when you did, it was always with a shot. So it's like, man, how is he still? He's always hanging around. And if I don't know about, like you said, you mentioned a little bit on the weather, but if the wind gets up, if anything goes in his favor tomorrow, I could actually feel like he can grind it out if these other 2 make mistakes. I just don't see Molinari making any mistakes. He hasn't yet. If the condition, you know, the last time he beat Tiger was at, you know, the Ryder Cup. Before that, it was the Open in sort of a matchup setting. And I don't see him making any mistakes. Even on that bunker shot on 18, I was trying to just give 1 back. I said, please just give 1 back, make it a little more interesting. And he still puts it within a foot or 2 feet or whatever it was. So it's really hard for me to see it. I know it's results oriented because I'm watching it all day and I'm seeing it the last few days, and they put the stat up. But man, someone said the stat was like in 163 holes in his last couple majors or whatever it was, or a few majors, he's minus 31 with 6 bogeys or worse. Like, and what do you do with that? It's up 2 already.
Yeah, my only difference there is the Open is a defensive strategy type setup. The wind's obviously going to come into play here a little bit tomorrow, but we know the historic back 9. I also, in the data that I could look and pull, and then what I wrote down today, he is either first or second based on the numbers that I could get in strokes gained putting. Probably first, but I'll lean to say first or second, and it's not close. He has 80 putts in 54 holes. Many of those from greater than 8 to 10 feet. And so
I like hearing that.
This tournament. And when I say that, did I cut out? No, sorry. Okay. When I say that, I'm going to go on the 11 under number because I want to see who else is in play if I don't look at Molinari. I don't think Molinari wins. Molinari, if the winds pick up great in the, I know he's stone cold ice veins. He's not going to be intimidated. And that's not what I think. I don't think it's going to be that. I just wonder out here, he's had a lot of he's played it, to your point, he's played almost as good as he could play, and he has a 2-stroke lead. And some of these guys have played average at best, and they're right in the mix. Brooks, who I wasn't on at all, Brooks hasn't played very good, and he's 3 back. DJ, 5 back. Kuchar, consistently every day getting better, looking good. Finau, obviously today was really, really good. Before that was okay. So, Tiger's kind of there with Brooks, 70, 68, 67. So he's gotten improved better. This is in his veins. There's nobody better, for this moment tomorrow than Tiger. So this isn't the Open at some course, whatever that was last year. I mean, this is Augusta. And so that I give Tiger a little more of an advantage tomorrow than what he had going against Molinari. With that said, I love Molinari. I have 3 of my top 5 lineups in the Mill Maker has Molinari and Tiger in them both. I paired them together a lot. So I'm not anti-Molinari here. I'm just saying I can see the out of where he doesn't win. Give me guys I don't really think tee times matter tomorrow. There'll be a slight advantage. I think if you can find a couple guys, especially salary wise, that you're trying to squeeze in there that you think can make a run. I don't know if anybody can make a run enough to matter less than even. I mean, and I'm looking at a guy to get up in the top 20, right? Not to win. So anybody that's even or better when you're looking at salary wise, those are the guys I'm going to kind of look at. Anybody +1 or worse, I don't have anybody in that range right now I'd even consider my player pool for DraftKings right now. Reed, potentially, but even if he shoots like 4 under, which would be a pretty good round tomorrow, 68, he's -3. I doubt he finishes top 30. I don't know if that's enough points to make it. His price is right. I have it on here, but I don't know what it is off the bat. But who are some lower guys you think -2, -3 in that range that can make a real run in the morning? So it's Matsu, Fitzpatrick, Wise, Leishman, even the amateur Hovland, Hoffman, who's a veteran here. Rory, is Rory going to be a big play? Stenson, Fleetwood, those kind of guys, Spieth even. So all the way up to like 4. Who do you have just right off the bat that you like?
Yeah, I'm very similar to you out of the gate. I actually tagged up probably 25 guys, and not one goes below 1 under right now. So I'm the same as you. And the reason is not just what you said, but there's too much good talent at the top. So even if one of these guys, like you said, floats a 67 and gets lucky, it's only going to bring him to 6 or 7 under. There's going to be guys, I believe, higher than, much higher than even right now. They may only get from 13 under to 15 under. That's still 10 strokes on that guy or 9 strokes on that guy. So a couple guys I like pricing wise. I don't think Cantlay does what he did today. No doubt. I get that. But he's been a low am here before himself. He is a good player. The price doesn't seem right for me at 7,400. I can see more at a Cantlay at 7,400 than I can on someone who might be sort of a popular guy after a good round today at 7,300, like Stenson. Stenson struggles through and he gets there in certain spots. He's not as bad as, Matsy can have a blow-up hole. You don't see that a lot out of Stenson, but Stenson has to make the putts. Cantlay doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I do like Cantlay at 7,400. I like today what I saw a little bit, but I was watching more on the app too, actually, and then looking at some of his opportunities where he was sitting at a little bit cheaper at 7,100. Thunderbear, Thorborn Olsen, he actually had some good ball striking going the day before too. If you looked at opportunities or if you looked at some of his shots and where he was setting himself up and he just wasn't converting. Today he did a little bit better job. He made 6 birdies and that ball striking finally paid off. So I do like him. And then I don't mind, actually. He's only 2 under, so this would just be like if you want to fit a stud lineup, but I'll still play Aaron Wise. I still don't think he made the most of what he had, and he still had a good scoring day, but he's 6,300. So for me, a little bit too cheap. He's only 2 under. Like I said, if he goes 4 or 5, it's not the same as when you mentioned, like Reed, who I don't mind. I got him yellow versus the other guys I got tagged green. Green means go in my spreadsheet. But at Reed is 7,800. That's $1,500. There's a lot of places to spend that money. If I can get the same thing out of Aaron Wise down below, looks to be in control. And like I said, I thought he could have done a lot more today, and he still had a pretty good day.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you hit on some of the same ones there. Wise was my top debutant. Is that right? I suck at saying shit, but okay, JB says yes. Yeah, so I had him at 9-1 there. Hovland is one I had, top am, which he's up barely. I'm not going to call it a lock. I almost fucked myself last night. I called it a lock on Mayo's show. So he's one up on the guy that went 4 deep today, Kanaya. And so, am I going to say starting with both those guys is crazy? Probably not. If you had to give me one, be Wise, because again, 6,300. He was a guy I had that's almost pressed the lock button on him because at 6,300. So this is his first Masters. Obviously, if he's top, debutant list, he's went 75, 71, 68. So obviously today was the best conditions, but even from first round to second round, he improved dramatically. So it tells me getting a little more comfortable. We know he's good talent. He played at the Byron and won the Byron, which, not that it's a Gus or anything, but, I think the length there helps him. If he shoots tomorrow and finishes at 4 or 5, flirt with the top 20, and at 6,300, it pays off great, right? Now, if he goes backwards, you're really hurting because now he doesn't get hardly any points. It can hurt. So it is a risk. I do like you said Cantlay. I do like Cantlay. I was wondering what you would say on him. I think I struggle because I was heavy on him. Obviously, he's in my main lineup. That still I'm not on. Me and Sergio need to have a come to Jesus meeting on that one. But I mean, I had Cantley, Finau, Matsu, Rahm. Which Rahm, he struggled a little bit today. We'll get that in a second, but I like Cantley. I think he finishes strong. I agree with you. I think the price looks crazy. I also wonder if you're looking in especially if you're in a single max type deal, okay, does that look too obvious? And then can you the deal with getting cute and pivoting here is there's not many options to pivot and get it right? Especially when you're looking at price versus finishing position, all that kind of stuff. I've been on Olsen since last week, right? He was one of my plays, talked about him on every show I was on. I love him. I have plenty of them in my main. I hope he continues. I have no problem playing him. And going up from there, Stinson deal. And then the other one who's just continually, obviously I put egg on my face Thursday to Friday, but it's Fitzpatrick, right? So great history here. Still no pressure at -3, and so for, I think he's 7,400 right there with Cantley. Could him and Cantley wind up finishing the exact same score after tomorrow? Potentially. And so for that price, I could look at Fitzpatrick in the mix right now. I haven't locked in. And then I kind of stopped there, and then we got to go to the, kind of the next level. What is your thoughts on, you mentioned him earlier. I've obviously been heavy on him. He's my number one owned guy on the week, is Matsu. Is now that he's hit that pretty low round, but, dribbled a little bit last hole, so it doesn't look as sexy as it did going into 18. Is he a play at 8,000? Is he a lock? Is he tomorrow he returns to normal, or he goes low? Because he typically seems to go low when he's not in contention, and technically he's 10 out, so I don't think he'll go into the round think he's in contention. So I don't know if it's nerves or ease or whatever. Is he a play for you?
Well, here's the thing. He's in yellow, but let me ask you something real quick, and then I'll take over this range. But what do you think the greens are like tomorrow? Obviously, that was a bit of a controversy today. People saying, well, they have this sub-air system. Why didn't they pull it? Why was the stimp meter or whatever at 10 or 11, all this, whatever? You don't even know, first of all. Second of all, yes, it was slower greens. It is what it is. But what's your take on the greens tomorrow? I want to know that.
Yeah. So, and I had people trying to argue a little bit with me, and I'm not going to go that route, but there's other factors in the earth, and I'm not going to go into a Bryce and DeChambeau type deal, but when you have humidity and rain and substance in the air, you can try to dry them out as much as you want, and you're still fighting stuff down beneath that you can't control per se, because of the weather and the atmosphere. And I'm not going to go real deep into that, but trust me on that to an extent, is that they can attempt to make them low, but the thing they'll fight tomorrow, which I think they probably, hindsight, said we could have dried them out a little bit. I mean, made them a little faster today. Chambly was on, and he said, not only him, but Faldo, he came on early, and he said he had 9 of the 18 holes as brutal holes to make par on. And so that's under the factor of traditional, just average wins, run out on the greens type of deal. So the pins were right. They just had the absolute picture perfect day, and nothing ever came up. And it bit them a little bit. It is what it is. Tomorrow they can't come back and make them 14, 15 on the stimp, because that win, the guys in the afternoon won't. I mean, they'll die, right? I mean, they'll all shoot plus. They won't be able to make a shot at all. And so it gives a slight advantage, and I kind of have that marked down. The guys are going out, if you think they could make a run and they're in a position, Aaron Wise is one, to get a 3 or 4 on the round in before the winds get real great. Because I think the greens are going to be a little bit faster than today, but not crazy, because the last 3 or 4 hours of tomorrow could have gusts up to 20, and it's going to be tough. I think they'll be faster than they were today. The fact of having them soft where the balls won't check as hard, it's just they're fighting an uphill battle. And he said it in his press conference Wednesday when he talked about it. He said we just had a crazy amount of rain, and we had the course as good as we can, but it's not what we wanted. We knew it was going to be soft. They knew this was going to happen. There's really not much they could do about it this time. That's my opinion.
Right. Okay. And that's sort of that's almost exactly what I thought. So I agree with you. That's where I was going with it. And so for me, I think Hideki will be more popular, just because today I know he stumbled on the one last hole, but I think that in that range, it's going to be him and Finau who get the most ownership, because obviously Finau's spot is clear. The guy sitting in second place, scored like crazy today, had a wonderful round, and for some reason he's only 8,200. I don't mind that chalk. To me, if you want to talk good chalk, bad chalk, he's in a good spot. He's been in the final group before of a major now, so he's got a little experience with that. I just think he's better than what people think he is. He's always this DFS darling, and people like him, so there's people think he's good because of that. But I'm saying I think he's good enough to contend here tomorrow. I don't think he's just going to go away. I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't win, like I mentioned in the betting segment. But I don't think he's going to just disappear and shoot 5 over and it was, oh, well, there goes Tony Finau again. I think he contends. But what I do like is I do like 2 pivots right there, Gup. I like Ian Poulter.
There you go.
He can tell he's my boy anyway. We know this, but he did well with Tiger today, which I knew we would have no fear of the crowds or anything like that. But he still actually scored well, right? I think he had 5 or 6 birdies himself. He putts pretty well, a little bit faster, so I'd like that. And same with Bubba Watson. And I know you and Bucks were on here yesterday talking about Bubba. We know it's a course for him. We know he likes it a little bit faster. I think he'd be okay. And you got to remember about Bubba is he's also still just in 20th. He's a little bit more ahead of Matsu. So it's almost like a matchup. And if you gave me a matchup bet tomorrow, I wouldn't be like all in Hideki. I'd be fine with Bubba, but I think Bubba has less ownership than Hideki tomorrow for a little bit cheaper. It's nothing about the price, $100. It's about he's right there as a pivot. So I like Finau. I like Poulter. I like Bubba. And then, of course, I still like Matsi for that range. As far as Spieth goes, and I'll let it kick back over to you because he'll be a topic of discussion. I don't think we see what we saw last year at all. I don't think he does that magically again and come back with his 9-under round. I just don't suspect it. I think some of his scoring, I think he had 4 birdies on the back 9 again today. I think that's great for his game turning around, good for his confidence. I don't think he comes out and has some magical round tomorrow, and there's too many other guys in that range that I like more. So I've got him ticked off as a fade for me. I should note earlier, just one more quick second, is that with you mentioned Matty Fitzpatrick. Interesting one. The only reason I want to go back to him is because he's the other guy I had tagged red as a fade. And if I look back the last 2 days, now he is a good putter. He's a great putter. He ranks really highly on long-term putting models. So that's interesting. But he has been making everything. So I don't know if you looked at him compared to Molinari. I love when you brought up the Molinari stat earlier because I didn't have that in my arsenal to say, oh, shit, he's making all these putts. I didn't think about that. And dudes like Bryson and Brooks and Kuchar could have had 2 eagles today that we'll get into. They didn't make those shots or those putts, and he's making all his. You're right. But for Fitzpatrick, from what I see, he's been making all the putts as well. And I know he's cheap, but he's T25. He's got to do a lot of work and continue to make everything. That's where I stand.
Yeah, you could start. You could take Finau, Poulter, Matsu, Watson, 3 of those 4 and start a core there and go, pick your one up top, get you a middle guy, and then someone down low for sure and make a good lineup. Poulter was on my list, right? So he was on my next kind of topic list. Definitely like him. I think, so I wrote a deal of, and you just listed basically all of them. Guys that are performing, but kind of went quiet just the way the tournament played out and the broadcast and all that. And the very first one was Poulter. DJ was next. And then hindsight now, after today, I said Brooks because Thursday night he was it was his, right? The tournament was over compared to 80% of Twitter, which I said was asinine. This proved to be true. I didn't care it was Brooks. It could have been Tiger, and I still would have said it's Thursday at Augusta. I don't give a shit who's winning it. It's not even close to over. Bubba was next. Now the one guy that you mentioned that and he's a coin flip, so I'd probably say he's yellow to me in your matrix is Jordan. It's what do you do? Do I think it's gonna be popular? I don't know. He's 8,300. Probably not because Finau's 8,200. So most people, especially if you're doing like the $5, deal trying to make the 100,000, they see Finau in second, Jordan right above them. They're gonna go to Finau more times than not, or even Poulter, who's in what, third, fourth? Top 5, I know for sure. T5, yeah. So I think he's unowned, and the only way you take him is if you do think he's going to do maybe not like last year, but if he can go 4 or 5 under, he could potentially be worth it. So I do agree with you there that's a coin flip, and it really kind of depends on your strategy up top. Just to go off what you said, if people are new or they don't understand, most of these pricings come out mid-afternoon. I don't remember exactly when they released today. So that's why Finau's 8,200 is they release the pricing and everything well before the round's over. So when you get these guys that go deep, Cantley, Finau, the pricing isn't adjusted because just the way DraftKings, they want to get the pricing out, let people start building or whatnot. They don't wait for the third round to end or second round or whatever and adjust. So there are spots where it looks super chalky, and you just have to ignore it because they didn't price it. They priced it based on where they were at the time where they thought they'd finish. And so sometimes they're just chalk you have to eat. Like you said, 100% agree with you there. Probably the big question, which would be a lot of time, but a lot of people are going to struggle with, because this is tight pricing, especially for a round 4 showdown. You're going to have to make decisions up top, and just, especially if you're doing a 1 to 3 max type deal, and just say, here's who I think is going to win the tournament, and go with it, because it's very hard to fit 2 of these guys, even above 9,000, definitely above 10,000. So, you could go a 10, a 9, and then you kind of get dicey, especially if you're trying to factor in finishing points. But what is your strategy in that upper tier from Fowler above, 9,000 and above? How do you agree you have to pick your winner and go with it? Or obviously you're doing 150 lines in the $5, you can kind of mix and match and pick 3 or 4 guys. But, let's say a guy's out there doing a $100 single, you almost have to just decide who you think is going to win and go from there.
Yeah, so it reverts back to sort of, and I agree, it reverts back a little bit to what I said. Like, the talent up there is just so good, almost too good, that you got to find a way to make it work. So you may have to find a way, and if it's going to be, a Tiger Brooks lineup, let's say, and you fade Molinari, then yeah, you are going to have to drop down and get Wise and then pick your spots in the low range and just hope these guys do battle for you. But I think the key is starting, especially if it's, and by the way, you got me saying this type deal thing up here. It's not a Canadian thing, and I'm always saying this type deal. If you're going to do a 1 to 3 max type deal, if you're going to do a 1 to 3 max type deal, you got to make sure you know what the chalk lineup looks like. So if you know what Cantlay, Finau, if you just think about it, and that if everyone's going to have that, that's not going to win. They're not just going to hand you the money. And in a $5 with $100K up top, you are going to have to make those decisions. So I didn't mind what you said about Jordan there with, when everyone's on Finau, it's actually not a bad pivot. And Poulter, because where his finishing position is, it's not a bad take to have a share of those guys in the $5 and 150 max build, and just take a small percentage where you're making sure you don't overlap, because you're going to leverage those 30 or 40% on Finau spots or whatever he ends up being tomorrow, right? So as far as the top goes, I'll tell you who I like. It's Tiger, it's DJ, it's Brooks, and it's Molinari. And what scares me is JT and Rahm, because these 2 are guys that, I said in my notes here, JT can be the Spieth from last year, but the bad news is for you, if you fade him, he's coming from -6. So, yeah, he might not get to the win, but he's also 9,500. He can make a really nice lineup. So I think he'd be good to have a couple shares of. Rahm could have had 2 eagles today instead of 1, and he's right there, and he scores, and he's ranked high. The one guy that, is interesting to me, and, the other guys I think are pretty obvious, they're probably repeating what you'd say, but I wonder what your take is on Rory, because he could almost be this year's Spieth. The idea last year was with Spieth had to come from nowhere, no pressure, do whatever. There's lots of guys like that, Ricky Fowler, whoever. But Rory, I don't know, his body language to me today was that he's done. He knows he ain't getting the Grand Slam this year. He's okay with it mentally, but it's always going to be disappointment. If I'm about to win a tournament and my wife's here, my buddies are here watching me sweat it out, I end up losing. I'll think about the match play a couple weeks ago. They're here sweating. It's my daughter's birthday. They know I need Tiger to drop these putts to beat Lucas Bjerregaard. And next thing you know, he doesn't. The body language shows it. I'm fine. Second place money's good, but it's not what I came to do today. And that's what I feel like when I saw Rory. You could see it all over his body. Even when he had a nice out, made a birdie putt. I forget which hole it was. His whole slumped up upper body was him saying like, that sucks. It's almost like he knew it was done, and it was just good enough to get that birdie and grind away. So what's your take on him, first off?
Yeah, I would tell anybody that listens to me, and I'll say it all night, that 100% fade. At 10-2, at 1, was he 1 under? He would literally have to tie or set the Masters record to be, even if he shoots 6 under tomorrow, gets to 7 under, top 10-2, you'd have to build a really very crazy lineup to get to, Tiger or DJ or Brooks. You can't get from, if you go Rory, you're fading the whole top. And I just think this is a tournament that someone up there is going to probably win this thing. And I just don't see how you fit it all in. I guess if you went Rory, Molinari, and then tried to build there, and you hope Rory makes you're literally putting all your faith in that. He has to shoot 67, 66, get inside the top 15, 10. Molinari has to win at that point because it's the only guy you're on. And it's just, it really limits your outs. And I'd rather be on a guy. I'd take Fowler at 9,000 all day at 7 under, who himself can go 5, 6, 7 under tomorrow with no pressure. We know it's you. He's your boy, but no pressure. He loves this place. He did it last year. Had a great Sunday. He can easily go out there and shoot a 66 tomorrow. We know if they're going to do the traditional pins, which I assume they will, that back nine can, and especially I don't know if he's starting back nine or front nine yet, but he can go out there and be 5 under quick, and make a run, even not to win it, but pretty close. And that 9,000 pays back because I can still do things with my lineup.
Yeah, no, I agree totally. And I think you said a couple things there that stood out to me. And one was, if you were going to do something crazy like a Rory, he's not going to be owned, so you better chalk it up elsewhere with all the guys like Finau, Harding, all those dudes that are sitting in a prime position, so that if they all become the top 5 and Rory somehow outscores even though he double bogeys or falls back from finishing points and has eagles and whatnot, he could do it. I don't like him as much, though. That's the one to ask you. But I do like your take there with Fowler. Instead of jumping up top, grabbing a couple guys, grab a guy you think's going to win and Fowler, who's going to play fearless. What if he starts on the back nine? I didn't check yet either, and he comes out 4 under through the first 9, gets that confidence, and then somehow gets rolling. We know he can get hot with the putter, and just says, I'm going to post minus 14 and see what happens. It's 7 strokes. I get it, but it could happen. He's a guy that doesn't need today's conditions, even though he didn't do it today. He can do it off those conditions because he plays well in the wind. He plays well in the cold, in the rain. It's Fowler. He can putt. It's not just because he's my boy. That's the price is right at $9,000. I would much rather have him at $9,000 than Adam Scott at $9,100, who can't make a 5-foot putt regardless of what pants he got on. Rocking the hammer pants today out there, trying to make putts. They were blowing in the wind. I think that was what was causing half the movement for him. But I like your idea of starting up top, grabbing Fowler, and then plugging in some values and some upside.
Yeah. I'm going to do some single stuff up top. But I like Tiger. DJ's up in play for me right now. No Rory at all. I really didn't like Brooks's round today. I watched about the last half 9 again, just some of the key shots. Can he win? Yes, but you have to make a stand, and if I can't have them all. And so he missed some putts. He wasn't great off the tee. And I wonder what he shows up tomorrow and does. If I had to just pivot, he's a potential pivot. I like Molinari. I don't know what I'm going to do there yet because I struggle with thinking he can win. And if he doesn't win, it means he kind of went backwards, right? And typical in Showdown round 4, if you don't think the leader's going to win, you want to fade him because not only is he losing points because he went backwards, but he's going to lose his first place points, right? And so it's tough. I have enough of him in the main slate, and this isn't a cop-out, but if he wins it all, I have enough of him in the main slate to go, it's kind of a hedge if you want to call it that, but I still want to win tomorrow, in the round 4. So he's not out of my pool. I do like JT. I do like Rahm. Day's going to be in my pool for now because I think he could be a huge pivot because I don't know who's going to be on him, right? But the one thing now is he's not going to withdraw, right? He made it to Sunday. He's not withdrawing from the Masters on Sunday. He's going to fight through it. He can go low if he cares or wants to. We've seen it before. Scott, you're dead on, right? If that dude could putt, he'd be winning by 3 right now, probably. I mean, he literally is probably striking the ball as good as anybody or up in the top 3. And I don't know how many putts he missed today. I had a check mark deal, old school, you get your little tick mark deal going on him. And I was like, I couldn't believe how many putts he was missing. Not hard putts, but I mean, should be makeable putts, and that he just couldn't drain them at all. Now, flip side of that is if he catches fire tomorrow, then yeah, he's going to go low. Probably the next guy that's on my list that's been popular all week, played great today is Kuchar. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. We're kind of in that mid range where you have to kind of gauge your guys you're going to get on between Kuchar, Mickelson, Fleetwood, Decham, obviously the chalk we talked about already, but in that kind of oddball range of Usti, Schauffele, Kuchar, Mickelson, Fleetwood, is there anything there that sticks out to you? D-Cham's in there, Spieth's in there, that kind of range?
Yeah, a couple guys. So the chat just let us know that Ricky goes off 847 on the front. So I wouldn't say kibosh it. Don't get me wrong. The guy still can do it. It's the same course and the pin placements he's used to, comfortable, whatever. I would have liked the confidence builder of that back where he can just tear it up and go 4 or 5 under regardless of conditions. But it is what it is. He's going to play fearless. I got Louis tagged. I like Louis because Louis is a guy that can just have what I would say, quote unquote, one of those rounds. And we've seen it plenty. His game has been strong and solid. Even at match play, they talked about him and Molinari as if, what if it had been stroke play, how far ahead of the field they would have been. They're the type of guys that can turn it on. Molinari has. Louis still lurking. He's 8 under. It's not like Louis out of this. Tougher conditions. Louis' major win is at the Open or at the British Open. So he's come second at all the other ones. It's not like these were easy Sundays that he came in second. So I do like Louis quite a bit there. I'm opposite of you, not to go back to Brooks, but I got the same feeling you got on Brooks about Xander. I felt really, when you see him going, it seemed like he was going in the right direction. And it's not just because factually he fell backwards. It's just what I saw. And again, as good as he is, as much upside as he has, and longevity of him, I'm excited for him. And I really like the guy. And I like him as a player, as a person, solid dude. I don't know if he's ready yet. And again, he's been ready at other tournaments. It's just when I see Kuchar right there and I see Louis right there, I'd play Louis as the GPP pivot versus I know Kuchar's going to be the chalk. Then I would Xander as the pivot. The other guy that I like is actually right below Kuchar. And, I said it today, to some of our friends in our Slack about Phil driving down Magnolia Lane talking smack about Kuchar 0.06%. Well, guess what? There wouldn't have been a worry about what Kuchar had to pay you, Phil, because Kuchar, my boy, Team Kuchar, he rolled you today on the course. He almost had 2 eagles. He could have went 6 under through 4 holes. So his ball striking was on. His putting still looked good. Missed a couple of those, ones that were right there, but he could have had an even better day. He's still in contention. But what if Phil today, or tomorrow, I should say, decides to get in that Phil DGAF mode and just says, forget it. He's another guy like Fowler, can play fearless. He's 6 under. Just go out there and shoot a number. It may not obviously be good enough to win, but it's good enough to place a number that's solid enough for a showdown. And at that price, 8,600, I'd much rather play Phil than I would someone like Bryson at 8,400, who I just don't see it anymore. He came up with one hot round. I had a big outright on him. I feel good if he does show up, but I don't see it. I see Phil as a guy like Fowler, who we talked about, who could come out and just post that round again.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing I would advise people is to, get your top 6 that you think the finishing order is and make like 5 of them, 5 variations. And when you compare that to pricing, it would open your eyes to tell you that, like, I think people overanalyze in the sense of trying to get the top 6 when your competitors, the guys that are in the DK contest with you, have to make the same 6 with the same salary restrictions. So it really gets down to not over agonizing over getting all guys in the top 6, but with the pricing available, saying, all right, who has the best chance? It'll also show you who's kind of the chalk, right? So everybody's going to go, like you said, Finau, potentially Cantley, which he's still got some room, but Poulter, I think, could be up there. I agree with you on DeChambeau, right? I think he struggled the last couple of days. For the price, there's other things around there that I like. That from 7,900 down, it gets real tough to find people you like that think are going to make big runs. I mean, there's some in there we already mentioned, but other people, you can't make your lineup out of everybody above 8,000, right? You're going to have to go down there. So that's where it really gets into figuring out, like a Webb, right? Webb 7,600, great round today. Talked very confidently after the round, which I like, so I have him green marked. But is he going to be chalky? Potentially. I think a lot of people could start with, Webb, Finau, even a Bubba, Poulter, that kind of stuff. So you really just kind of piece together where your options are there and go, all right, now can I go down to a Victor Hovland, who's for an amateur's got a ton of birdies, even an eagle. Can I go down to a Wise, who played really good today, 6,300? and give me some leverage up top, but I'm taking a risk, and I know that because they're not in really the pricing point of the points yet. And that's stuff we just can't answer. I mean, we talk about it in the chat and the Slack and everything we preach and teach our, the community is, and I stand by it forever, is the hardest part of DFS golf is lineup construction, right? You can I could give my pool away every day, and it would be hard for people to build exactly like me because you still have to make tough choices, right? You still have to put them together, and especially in a 1 to 3 max type environment where you have to call and go, here's who I think is going to win the tournament tomorrow. Boom, let's go. That's tough. It's been one of my better fortes, so I don't mind it. But 150 max, you definitely can take some leverage. The one thing I'll preach, and I'll talk about in my article tonight, is don't spread yourself too thin today on the 100. Even if you do 20 max, 30 max, 100 max, pick a tight core, stick to it. What I'm going to do personally in mine is I'm going to pick a core. I'm going to pick a small pool, and I'm going to try to get every combination I can in case one of them goes off. I'm not going to go out there and put 45, 80 guys or 45, 50 guys in tomorrow because I'm going to spread myself too thin. I'd rather pick the core up top, middle, and low, have about 35, 40 guys and mix and match them among 150 lineups all day than I would trying to get a piece of everybody. And I said that pre-tournament, I still stick by it. If you try to get all the top guys or to get all the combinations down below with all the top guys, you're losing leverage against the field, in my opinion. So you're going to start to make calls and go, here who I think is going to win, and go with it. Before I ask your question on building, I'm going to give away the first giveaway here in the middle. These are our 3 guys that won. So you're going to get $50. Because I can't get a hold of DK this last minute. I'll get a hold of me or JB, DM us, Slack us, whatever. You can find us all over the place. If you're listening to this, I hope you can. You're going to get $50. We'll send it to you tonight, and you're also going to get a Masters Tee free from us. The first one is Danny Cody 9622, and that was his Instagram handle. That's where I found it. So I think he's Danny Cody. I don't know Twitter or anything, so hopefully he's listening or hears this. The second one was a Twitter handle at Corey Lankin, Lakin. You get $50 in a Master T-shirt. The third one, I know he's in the chat all the time, I think, Bader Bear. And he also said he won by iTunes this time. So if you guys don't think we look at that, we do. So he was one of the few that got a couple entries because he did a couple things. So it said Bader Bear or Winnie Boom was what he left on the iTunes deal, but you win. The Masters are $50. And we got 3 more left that I'll give out here in a little bit. So lineup construction, building, all that kind of stuff. What's your thought? I know you do much more of the 50, 7,500 than I do. I do it a few times a year. I have decent success, but I know you're more familiar with it. What's your advice tomorrow?
I would say a couple things. One is, like you said, the pricing. It was made well before it was supposed to be, in a sense of not it was supposed to be, but what the results happened. So you're going to have to still play some of these chalk spots. Like, in my opinion, like Finau is a great example, and he'll be extremely popular, but he's the wrong price based on what I think he can do. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's sitting in second place. He can score. He's good on all conditions. I just think it's too good. And it was like Kuchar on the main slate. And, well, you got to fade him in GPPs because there's no way. People were saying, well, no, there's multiple ways to do it. It's all what your risk appetite is. You talk about a lot that very strongly when it comes to betting, and it makes perfect sense. It's the same situation here with DFS. So that, to me, is the first part. Find out who your plays are, like you said. Tighten your core. You ain't getting all the combinations. If you want to play every guy up top and then just leave Rory out, that'd be nice. But unfortunately, there's max 150. There's too many permutations. There's too many ways to build. It's not going to happen for you. You're better off to take your stands. What I would say, final piece of advice is if you are going to use more than 2 or 3 chalk pieces, quote unquote chalk pieces, because not a big deal on ownership that comes out. You sort of got to go off what the obvious is, like you said with a guy like Finau, without giving away your whole article later. The big thing would be is how you build at the top. Don't expect to plug in, the Tiger, Molinari that are up there and then get your other guys down below and expect to win the 100K. It's not how it works. It's very rare that's how it works. So you're going to have to differentiate and take some stands. examples I mentioned. You know, the DJs, the Brookses, the Roms, all these guys that could pop again, and then figure out how you want to build from there and mix and match some of those other plays.
Yeah, and you don't, yeah, exactly. And you don't have to be, you know, contrarian all over. I mean, you can have, like you said many times, 3 or 4, you know, if you're building 100 lineups, you know, mix and match whatever. But if you're building 1 or 2 or 3, you know, you can have some Finau and Bubba and you know, Kuchar if you want to go that route, Webb who's up there, Poulter who we mentioned, and then just make you literally you can have the same guy mix that last guy up if you want. Just make sure you get different somewhere. You know, I try to be different in 1 or 2 spots if I'm doing that. But don't get too cute. I tell guys that to send me DMs all the time, and they'll build lineup, and I'm like, "What are you trying to win?" And they're like, "Well, this." I'm like that's a great contrarian lineup, but you're way too cute for $100 single entry that's got 90 people in it on a showdown, right? You don't have to get that. You don't have to get that crazy. So if it hits, yeah, you've got all the money, but the odds of it compared to the field, like you have to hit 100 out of 100, right? You got to get it all right, and so it gets a little crazy. So, kind of wrapping up 2 or 3 topics. Who are 2 or 3 guys, and not, let's just say everybody that's +1 or down is an auto fade. You know, so maybe -2, -3 up. Who are some guys potentially for you? I'm not going to hold you to it because I know you're going to build tonight or whatever, like everybody else. But right now, I think are a pretty solid fade for you.
The 2 I mentioned strongly. So the biggest 2 for sure, no doubt, is going to be Jordan Spieth and Matt Fitzpatrick. So 2 guys that sometimes get compared or joked around about within the Twitter walls. But I wouldn't honestly put either of those 2. Maybe, like I said, I would probably put no Fitzpatrick, but it's so tough. I'd actually, I know I'm going back and forth here, but with Spieth and Fitzpatrick, it's almost like you said, you found the sweet spots though because of Finau and Cantlay. So it's almost like you have to take a small shot at them, but I'm just really not behind them. I don't see Spieth doing the same thing as last year. Fitzpatrick is a good putter, but he has been making everything, so it scares me a little bit. And then you made the best point on Rory up top. So in looking back, even when I'm taking a stand, it's almost impossible for me to imagine building a Rory lineup because what I would need so much to go crashing down at the top and the talent that's right around him. You got Rahm, Thomas, Molinari, Koepka, DJ, and Woods. Too much talent, too much firepower. And then the other guy I mentioned was Adam Scott. I didn't mention this, but to throw one more guy the other way, another pivot there instead of Ricky would be to go up, and I don't think Day will be that popular. And like you said, he's going to play. He still wants to do something here. He's 6 under. He is literally, in the last 100 rounds, the best putter in this field, strokes gained putting. Doesn't mean on this course, on these greens, on these conditions, whatever. We know Jason Day is a good putter. And again, I watched the round today. He missed some putts that Jason Day would normally make. He was this close on some certain putts. I think at his price, he's playable as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree there. The Rory deal just doesn't. I mean, even more and more I look at it, I'm stronger and stronger. I don't know if I'm huge on Brooks or Molinari yet, but I would just at the end of the day, total points scored, it's going to be very difficult for Rory to make up to get to that level. And not only that, then you limit yourself building wise. And so I just don't see it. If he was going to make a run, I thought it'd be today, and he didn't do it. Obviously had plenty of chances, missed some putts. He is going to go out early. I get that. I'll just take a chance there, right? You got to fade someone. I'm still on Rahm. I think just because he hadn't given up yet, and I think he could have had 4 shots better today if things went his way. And so he's there for me. I don't mind him. Fades for me, definitely. I've already said Rory. Brooks is probably on there right now, and it's not because I'm hard fade good, and so I'd rather go those routes in the 3 lineup build. And so those are kind of the guys. Oh, sorry. Am I back?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Storm, so I'm sorry about if I'm cutting in and out. But I top right now is Rory, Brooks. In the middle, we kind of already talked about all that. Down low, really isn't no quote unquote fade. And to your point, you said it earlier, you can't really fade the chalk this week. If it's good and you like it, you got to take it, right? I mean, is there anybody in the middle that you just absolutely would fade?
What range you talking, Gup? Worst timing. In the middle, I'll say this is, like I said, I'm not really on Reed. You mentioned earlier, I don't like it. Woodland has all the opportunities, but he doesn't make any putts, so I'm not really on him. I don't care about the Kisners. Hoffman, like you said, maybe a GPP play for history. I'm not playing Kazire. I'm not big on Leishman. I don't really care. I mean, he could be all right, I guess, if it got real windy or if we found that out overnight. I don't really like too many guys in there. As I said, I'll differentiate elsewhere myself. And then maybe take a little sneaky play on the Canadian, Corey Connors, one more day, 4 under, but it's just crazy. There's Webb is right there. There's too many good plays this week. You're going to have to differentiate. I think for the final tip I'll give, the biggest differentiation is going to be at the top, right? If Tiger and Molinari win, then so be it. But they're going to be popular too, and who's more popular down below. I like the value plays below from, let's say, Finau and down or Kuchar and down. I like them a lot more than I think you can just say the top is done. It's not done. These are the best players in the world at the top. A lot can happen tomorrow. They say the Masters doesn't start on the back till the back 9 for a reason. This week a little bit different because split tees, new tradition. But at the end of the day, the best players are at the top. I would differentiate up top and not down below as much. You still want to mix some guys in, but I like the value plays more because they hurt you less.
No, I agree. Again, apologize if I'm cutting out with the storms and everything. It's kind of crazy at night. I'll have my article out tonight here in about less than an hour or so. Bets will be out as soon as, I don't know if they're up yet, if 3 balls or anything are out. But if they are, I'll have them out as soon as they come out pretty much. Last night it was I wrote the article first because they wouldn't come out. I'll be up early, obviously ready to watch. I'm sure you're going to be up early, ready to watch. I'll be up tonight because I'm going to build 150 now just because I think it's good plus EV for me to try it for 100,000 up top. So I'll be in the Slack, be answering questions. Last promos before we get off, and then I'll list the last winners is and JB, tell me in my ear if I cut out because it's getting loud out there outside so I can hear the winds. But obviously we got these shirts that we're giving away tonight. You can buy them online. You can see them on our Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. Limited edition. We're almost sold out. Be sure to get on there. It says the sizes that we have left and everything, but there's still plenty of sizes left. Just get on there and check it out. We'll ship them, free upgrade all weekend, through the weekend as well. Monday, even if you get them late and you decide you want one for next year or you want to wear one because you had a great Masters, we'll ship them. Our promo, our big, lock in for life pricing, $6.99 a month, $69.99 a year, and one time only, $129 2-year plan. Locks tomorrow night. Very important. I hope I don't cut out here. The contest to get into Blue Jack National ends tomorrow when the leaders make the turn, which now is even more important because it's going to be about 11:30-ish in the morning. And the only reason why is because we have to get all the names in and everything pulled so we can get the guys drawn that's going to win it. We're going to give away one person's going to join me, Bucks, and Moose at Blue Jack National, Tiger Woods course in Houston, Augusta Light, #1 rated resort course in Texas, probably one of the top 5 or 10 in the country. If you buy an annual or a 2-year, you get 1 or 2 entries, depending on which one you buy. Between now and tomorrow, you get entered. Everybody that's already bought one, you're in. Obviously, they know that. But if you're on the fence right now, go in, buy it. You get an entry. Just a tremendous opportunity. We're going to be there for 3 holes, private cottage on the course. It's going to be a great deal. Monday, the prices go back to our standard pricing. So we'll go back to $14.99 and the $99 standard pricing, and we won't come back. The 2-year plan will go away. We will introduce a weekly plan Monday that you can get into if you want to try us out. So before I list the winners, do you have anything, final thoughts, Tambo?
No, I mean, you're humble and I'm a partner as well, but I'll say whatever you just said as far as the offer is concerned, don't miss out. Like it's is what it is that it ends a little bit sooner tomorrow. Bottom line is the pricing is fantastic. I am biased, but it's literally $6.99 a month or 69 bucks for a year or 129 for 2 years and you're locked in. It's going to redo every year at that price. I honestly know for a fact there's not a better deal. I've been parts of other sites. I've been working for other sites. I've been members to other sites. There is no better deal for what we're getting. The guys in the Slack will attest to it. Twitter, retweets, reviews, read whatever you want. When someone says, what's the price? It's almost like it's free because it's $6.99 a month. So you don't want to miss out on tomorrow. It's not just selling you on it. The fact is that's the best value you'll ever find for any site with this information on the entire market as far as DFS information is concerned. One last point I'll make on it. I'm a salesman by trade, but I got to put it out there. People are forgetting something. NFL season. Bucks literally shipped the 333. Gup and I had some big wins. There was lots going on. When you sign up for 1 year, it's not a prorated, here's the rest of PGA that you think, there's only 3 more majors or, it's going to end shortly. It's a 365-day package that will renew another 365 days from now. There is no better value. And on top of that, you get entered in the draw. I buy raffle tickets for home lotteries here that cost $200-$300. So it's the same thing, except it's better because you can win money and make a lot of cash. So I know you're real humble, Gup. I'm going a little bit over the deep end on it because I feel that passionate about it. That's why.
Yeah. And the drawing will cut off on the back 9, but the pricing will stay up through midnight. So you have all night. If you miss the drawing, it sucks, but you still get the 6. You can block it in through midnight tomorrow and it'll be up. Appreciate that. I obviously, I tweeted earlier about, just some of the guys that were tweeting their pictures with their family, their kids, and their friends, their buddies watching the Masters in our shirts, promoting us. It was humbling experience. My wife, even a little emotional type deal. Just, she's seen it from, inception, cradle to grave, if you will. We're not near the grave yet, but she's seen it since it was a thought on a pad 3-4 years ago. And took a while to kind of come together, but I think it's been great and it's done the right thing. So to wrap up before I get blown away from the storms, the guy that wins the $100 DK money in a Masters shirt is at DFS AMATEUR1, which I think is DFS Amateur 1. He wins the $100 in the deal. The guy that wins the free bonus entry into the Blue Jack and a Masters t-shirt is at KBerry197 on Twitter. And then the guy that wins a free 2-year upgrade or membership, if you don't have one, is John. It just says Josh, and he was on Facebook, PROPST. And he's a follower of us there. Hopefully he watches this and everything, but I will tweet it out, or JB and I will tweet out the winners and just give you one last chance before we wrap it all up. But, hopefully everybody's listening or will listen or follow us on Twitter and they see it tonight and give you a chance to get your reward tomorrow or tomorrow afternoon. Right now, it looks like the Masters will end at 2:33-ish Eastern Standard Time. I'll just say we're going to go live around 5 o'clock Eastern for now. And we're going to give away the $500 plus prize pack that you can still get into by everything you did today. You're entered. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes. Leave a review. You get an entry into that. And then we'll announce the winner of the Blue Jack National trip tomorrow night and get your flights booked to get you here in 2 weeks when we go to that course. So for now, let's say 5 o'clock Eastern. Pay attention. We want to look about an hour and a half after final tee time, so we have time to get everything together. Final when the tournament ends. So we'll see when it ends. It's going to be about an hour and a half after that or so.
I'll be back. I think we lost Gup. Oh, he's back. He's back.
All right. Yeah. We'll give away all the winners, talk about the Masters and have everybody on tomorrow if they can and kind of wrap up the week that was the Masters. We'll also announce all of our media hits tomorrow night. You guys have blown records out for us. We're killing this week as far as YouTube's, iTunes, Periscope. It's been amazing. So we'll announce all that and give you guys a big thank you for doing that. With that, before I get completely blown off the air. I'm going to sign off and start building lineups. I will be in the Slack later tonight. We'll see you there.
SmashFactor.